Good afternoon. We are the Stevens Institute of Technology Team 2, and we are excited to present our scaling strategy for BennuBio. I am Brianne Kain, and I am joined by Teny Odaimi, Eric Indelicato, and our mentor, Dr. Gary Lin. BennuBio was founded in 2018 and is located in Albuquerque, New Mexico. I will now turn it over to Teny Odaimi.
BennuBio has developed VeloCyte, a technology that is revolutionizing particle testing and analysis. VeloCyte is a flow cytometer, but it analyzes samples 100 times faster than other flow cytometers currently on the market today. One of the fascinating uses of flow cytometry is the ability to analyze cell characteristics and especially detect rare cell populations in a wide variety of samples. Whereas the current technology is restricted to analyzing only one particle stream, BennuBio's technology analyzes 10 particle streams simultaneously. Flow cytometry is on the rise. In the last 10 years, the market for flow cytometers has grown from $250 to $411 million, and it's still growing. Boston Analytics indicates that funding for flow cytometry is most concentrated in drug discovery and R&D. The areas with the red boxes indicate that funding momentum is high. However, flow cytometry for drug discovery is currently an extremely crowded and already competitive market. Competitors are huge and investing a ton in R&D. Thermo Fisher, for example, a large flow cytometer competitor, has sales of $32 billion and R&D spending of over $1 billion. The annual R&D spending of BennuBio's key competitors and their revenue far exceeds its current standing. So how can they compete? Should BennuBio scale given its low funding and acquisitions, as well as the incredibly high competition that's already in this saturated market? Is there room for BennuBio in this market? Probably not. The end. Just kidding, just kidding. We believe another market offers substantial potential for BennuBio and its technology, and that is municipal water treatment. Water quality is a problem. In the United States alone, unsafe water causes about 600,000 emergency department visits, over 100,000 hospitalizations, 6,000 deaths, and over $3 billion in direct healthcare costs. Spending in global water testing equipment has costed $3.41 billion in 2018. In addition, because of poor water quality, we have turned to using plastic water bottles, which opens doors to a multitude of other environmental issues. It is important, however, to note that there are over 148,000 public water systems in the US, which presents a sizable opportunity for BennuBio. The current municipal water treatment process involves something called grab sampling at the different phases of the water treatment process. This approach is over 100 years old and unfortunately allows a number of undetectable bacteria to slip through. However, if we now insert BennuBio's VeloCyte flow cytometer after the fluoridation stage, which is the last stage of the water treatment process, we can then identify bacteria and particles sizing from 3 to 1,000 micrometers. If bacteria is then found in the output sample, the sample will be kept in the fluoridation stage longer to ensure that virtually all known bacteria from entering our drinking water. In the world of flow cytometry, BennuBio's technology is unique and far superior. Take a look at BD's Accuri C6 flow cytometer, one of the leaders in the market today. They can only process one stream, as I previously mentioned, but using BennuBio's patented acoustical wave technology, they can detect 10 particle streams simultaneously, and it is virtually uncloggable, which is critical when we are looking at sediments and other particles in the municipal water testing process. There are key differences with the current versus our proposed water treatment process. Current testing can take days or weeks, but VeloCyte can provide instant results. The current testing process is also very labor intensive. However, our proposed testing process would be non-labor intensive because we have automatic bacteria counting. Unlike the current testing process, the flow cytometry implementation provides enhanced capabilities to analyze multiple parameters in multiple assays simultaneously. And the current testing process has many restrictions. While with VeloCyte, users can analyze many properties of particles in a sample, which provides the opportunity to detect any unknown contaminants and determine the cell count and bacteria concentration in the sample. Finally, unlike current municipal water testing, the VeloCyte can provide high-resolution monitoring in real time, which then allows users to make changes during the treatment process as needed. Not only does VeloCyte process significantly more volume, but it accurately processes samples 100 times faster than its competitors. Furthermore, BennuBio's technology reduces the entire testing analysis time from the 1 to 3 days of competitors to providing you results in just minutes. Sample reusability is also possible when testing with VeloCyte, since the sample is undiluted and unaltered in any fashion. BennuBio's technology is capable of detecting particles of sizes significantly larger than its competitors, and it stands at a price far less than its competitor Thermo Fisher. What this is really telling us, and the former slide, is that there exists a clear market gap in which BennuBio's technology can uniquely fill. But this is no slam dunk. There are several risks and barriers to entry that we need to consider. The particularly high-risk areas include funding to retrofit current municipal water treatment facilities, acquiring funding to scale up, meeting regulatory requirements, and customer education for flow cytometry. Interestingly, with regards to the funding, there's a multitude of available funding sources to address the current water quality epidemic. The funding to retrofit current municipal water treatment facilities and funding for scaling are critical factors that must be considered, which leads us to discuss several funding opportunities. These are just a few of the main funding sources, including the USDA Office of Rural Development Search Program, which provides a total funding of $128 billion, and individual states also provide water quality grants. Another critical factor that is essential to the success of rolling out BennuBio's VeloCyte in water testing is to create a concrete customer education of flow cytometry. Now, to address this customer awareness risk, we've created an advertising and promotional strategy that includes critical key environmental magazines, industry trade shows, direct sales, targeted email blasts, and demonstrational and educational workshops. Analyzing a high-level revenue forecast. In year one, we would ramp up our production to make sure that BennuBio has all the equipment needed for retrofitting and inline use. At first, the company would probably not expect to make a large revenue. However, in year two, we believe that BennuBio can sell 4 systems at $125,000 plus the cost for retrofitting, totaling its revenue at $700,000. The revenue forecast ramps up rapidly from here as we increase customer awareness. Now, if you're not already convinced and you're still thinking, how is this possible? Check this out. A proof of concept can be shown through a previous study conducted by Dr. Frederick Hames, a researcher from Switzerland who took BD's flow cytometer technology that has much limited capabilities and conducted an analysis on municipal water testing. And I quote, "It worked brilliantly." Now, can you just imagine how much more we can achieve using BennuBio's advanced technology? And now, how ironic it was that yesterday was Earth Day. While drug discovery may not offer a viable path for BennuBio, our drinking water needs BennuBio. Which would you rather drink? BennuBio could be the answer to disease-free water. Thank you. Any questions?
That was a great presentation. We have our first question from the judge. Placing lab equipment in industrial applications can be very challenging. Have you considered modifying the equipment for this challenging environment?
Okay, so currently we would probably have a specialist from BennuBio visit these water testing sites in order to figure out exactly where they would be implementing it, and basically giving a clear instruction and seeing if it is feasible anyway in such industrial situations. However, we haven't thought about modifying the equipment that BennuBio has specifically. I think there would be more of a focus on adjusting the environment to fit BennuBio's technology. It is pretty easily integratable, as you saw in the figure, and it is a very user-friendly device. However, we are not here to present any sort of change to the equipment to fit water testing environments.
Thank you. Is there a strategy for getting this technology approved by federal regulatory agencies?
I believe that would be looking more into the EPA standards. Since this is already a device that is on the market, I'm sure it abides by several guidelines already. Again, that's definitely something to look more into in detail. However, I think in a safe answer, it should be feasible.
What is the deployment model? Are there consumables that need to be included to provide ongoing income per system to BennuBio?
Okay, so our strategy was to first deploy the technology integration into the states in the United States that have the highest poor water quality, and these would be Pennsylvania, Texas, Florida, and California as the top 4. So first, launching it out there, testing it out, and seeing how beneficial it is, because we have the proof of concept, and now we would want to get it out there and get it moving. So that would be our first deployment strategy. And then what was your second question? The consumables to provide. We sort of, as BennuBio, we would recommend BennuBio establish a relationship with these municipal water testing facilities, in that we would have specific contact personnel in BennuBio that are in charge of following up with the technology, any maintenance required, any sort of upgrades to the system. They would be in direct contact with experts from BennuBio.
Thank you. Did you consider licensing or selling to the major suppliers in pharma?
Definitely an open opportunity. We're not recommending that BennuBio be selective necessarily on who should enjoy this wonderful technology. We more so focused on the water testing application. However, they should continue to sell its technology to wherever it is lucrative, and pharma is always big, so definitely sales there as well.
Thank you. Do you see the current emphasis on infrastructure as offering an enhanced opportunity?
Can you define which specific infrastructure you are referring to?
While we wait for Mr. Mellon, do you know if there is intellectual property protection in the water quality field?
I am not certain 100% on whether there is intellectual property protection. I would definitely say that if BennuBio's technology is being utilized in these water treatment facilities, that BennuBio still has ownership and rights to its technology, and any system upgrades or changes towards it. I don't believe that they would now own the tech to regulate or use in any other fashion or feature. And as to the emphasis on infrastructure as offering an enhanced opportunity, I think it is such a variable, there are so many variable applications to this technology that you can use BennuBio's flow cytometer to test water in different stages of water storage, water testing, water treatment, any sort of placement in the infrastructure. You can run samples through the tech and get some really important results. So yes, I would say it's definitely an opportunity. It's definitely a growing opportunity, and I think whoever has this technology will even discover more uses for it than we already list out for you. So,
thank you. What amount of capital will BennuBio need to raise to test feasibility of this application?
So with the current promotional and strategy plan, we estimated about $63,000 for the year in order to account for like the trade shows, the direct sales, all of that sort of thing. And that would be the first year's plan for executing this water testing with BennuBio. After that, we'd have to reassess based on the sales and revenue of that year.
Are water plants able to control dwell time in the treatment chambers to improve the sanitation in response to the analysis?
If I'm understanding this correctly, so if the sample comes out of this treatment, let's say, with still some remnants of bacteria or is not fully purified, we would recommend you keep it in the sanitation of the previous stages longer, and then keep running samples through BennuBio's technology, through the flow cytometer, to see the improvement of the quality of the state of the water. Water treatment plants would have to have their personnel be in charge of conducting these steps. However, in order to improve the sanitation of the sample, we would just recommend, from our standpoint, that you rerun those previous steps.
Who are your early adopters for this application space?
So in the first people we would recommend take BennuBio's flow cytometer and integrate it with their water treatment and testing systems are those states I mentioned with the poorest water quality. These are states where the tap water isn't exactly drinkable, and they would definitely be the ones who I think should get a first grab on that. That is where we would aim for.
Thank you. Your proposed funding sources were mostly government. What is your capture strategy?
Capture as in investors in this. I'm going to interpret it that way. At these trade shows and workshops and seminars that BennuBio will be presenting at to showcase its technology and all that it's done with integrating into water testing, there we will meet other private companies, private organizations, maybe NGOs, all of that sort of thing. And if they express interest there, we can follow up and set up some sort of other channel of funding outside. But start primarily government funding is our first stage of funding.
And to piggyback off of what Teny had mentioned, Section 106 does designate about 6 different organizations nationwide that have poor water quality. So reaching them as a target for us, whether these are at these industry trade shows or, at meetings or something like that, that would be a great ground for us to go into as well.
Thank you. We got about a minute and a half left. This represents a huge pivot away from the original application. Do you think this strategy should or could become the priority over blood testing? And can a company work on such divergent strategies?
I'm going to answer the second question first. I believe it is definitely possible. I anticipate BennuBio expanding in the coming years and adding on to their force. I believe there can be people managing 2 different projects at once, and that it would honestly be a very successful brand establishment for BennuBio as well. To answer the first question, yes, it is definitely a big shift. However, you don't have to fully abandon the blood testing. That can be a demand-based sales. I think right now, putting the energy into this water testing space would be a faster way to make revenue and to make a difference, honestly.
Thank you. Your time is up, but I have a couple of people joining. We just wanted to congratulate you guys on your presentation yesterday and for winning one of 2 teams who won the prize for Best Strategy for Opportunity Identification.
Thank you so much.
Congratulations.
Well done.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Congratulations. Welcome to the cutthroat world of global business. And remember, those who live by the sword die by the sword. You're only as good as your latest idea, but it looks like you have no shortage of them. So wish you all the luck with your careers.
Thank you for the warm welcome. Thank you.
Thank you for the feedback.
And we look forward to seeing you next year.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And possibly tomorrow.
We hope so. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Good job.
Thank you. And judges, again, this was Stephen's group number 2 when you fill out your scoring cards.
All righty. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Koerner Bickel.
Malhotra.
I'm Amala Neervannan.
And I'm Shefali Shangappa.
And we are 4 undergraduate students from IU Kelley School of Business. Cell research has always been the foundation for the advancements and breakthroughs within the medical and life science fields. Every cell is analyzed and assisted major breakthroughs within the industry, and every day, new adjustments are made to pioneer cell research and streamline the process so that it is faster and more accurate. Flow cytometers have been an integral part of cell research. However, single cell processing takes time and can bottleneck the process of cell analysis. That's why BennuBio, a biotechnology company, created the VeloCyte to improve flow cytometry.
BennuBio is a small medical instrumentation company that produced the new and improved VeloCyte. With only 15 employees, this small-scale company has the potential to grow their market to universities, clinical labs, and pharmaceutical companies. However, BennuBio currently lacks the market awareness, production capabilities, and the funding to be able to back an innovative product. So how can BennuBio scale their company to improve the market and product capacity of the VeloCyte?
The VeloCyte is BennuBio's patented innovative flow cytometer that is able to complete cell analysis at a higher rate and with a larger sample size for rare cell detection. Typical flow cytometers are too slow for rare event detection, large sample volumes, or monitoring cellular kinetics. The VeloCyte opens up the bottleneck of the typical flow cytometer by expanding the particle streams. As many as 10 particle streams are now able to be analyzed at 100 times faster of a rate than the single stream flows. Additionally, the VeloCyte is a progressive cytometer compared to traditional hydrodynamic cytometers, which amplifies its value as a product in the company. With such a specialized product, its capabilities as a diagnostic tool presents the opportunity to enter several niche markets and produce for the healthcare field.
Now we will walk you through our 4-phase scale-up plan for BennuBio. Our first phase will include the licensing of a specific cell that will allow for BennuBio to create their initial revenue stream. Our second phase includes increasing market presence. Our third phase includes manufacturing with Viant Medical. This will increase VeloCyte's production to create its initial scaling revenue stream. Our fourth and last phase is a vertical acquisition merger with Fluid IGM that will complete our company scaling.
One begins with the need for funding. We will accomplish this by approaching investors for Series C funding to increase financial capital for the company. We have 2 potential investors that we believe fit the necessities for BennuBio. Noble Holdings, and VentureKick. Noble is a world-leading science investor company that works to create long-term value. VentureKick is a venture capital that gives funding to scientific entrepreneurial startups. Another way we plan to create initial revenue streams is by selling the licensing of a niche cell of the VeloCyte to companies and medical research facilities within said niche.
For BennuBio, our licensing plan would begin with the company choosing a niche cell that they would want to work with least. Since BennuBio is still developing the extent of the VeloCyte's capabilities in regards to other cells, they should license out a specific cell that has capabilities that they don't see growth potential for within their company. The licensing agreement with respective parties interested in research in regards to the cell that BennuBio contracts out will be able to make advancements in their field, all while giving BennuBio diverse revenue streams to increase their funding in a high reward, low risk manner.
After BennuBio has licensed their least applicable cell, then comes the time to decide which niche market they want to venture into. In order to start making revenue, BennuBio has to start selling their product, and identifying the market is the first step. We propose that BennuBio identify the cell that their product has the strongest current use for and make that their niche target market. Once they have identified a small audience to reach out to, BennuBio should compile a target of small to large companies within the pharmaceutical and life sciences industry, universities, and even laboratories that would be interested in that singular specified application of the product. Once they have solidified the market, comes selling the product itself. And in order to get VeloCyte sold on a larger scale, BennuBio needs to strengthen their marketing team. The company currently has a very strong marketing team that creates the videos and visualizations for the product, and expanding that team to promote the product specifically to the target market is vital for expanding sales.
To begin phase 3, we recommend that BennuBio establish a contract with Viant Medical to streamline and amplify to release VeloCyte to the target markets. Viant Medical is an ISO-certified medical device producer that is geared towards building smaller companies. They provide a range of services and end-to-end solutions that would assist BennuBio in production issues. Viant Medical will allow for an accessible production increase and provide not only just the manufacturing of the product, but also the packaging and management of the supply chain itself. In addition, utilizing Viant Medical services will provide BennuBio a working space to produce the product, materials and expertise, and a streamlined production process that will maintain the quality level that BennuBio expects.
BennuBio's association with Viant Medical will allow for increased production, meaning increased revenue. VeloCyte is currently selling for $100,000. The historical industry profit margin is 20%, so the estimated cost per VeloCyte is estimated to be $80,000. Post-manufacturing partnership with Viant Medical lowered costs due to the outsourcing that Viant Medical will provide, increased revenue, and increased profit. This will secure our second free-flowing secured revenue stream for specialization.
Phase 4 is to merge with an already established company that will be able to provide BennuBio the resources needed to move their target market to include human diagnostic use. Fluid IgM provides multi-omic solutions to study cancer, inflammatory diseases, and immunotherapies in transformative new ways. They have 500 plus global employees, and they focus on imaging, mass cytometry, genomics, and gene expression. Fluid IgM also actively utilizes flow cytometry research. So BennuBio's medical device would advance and innovate Fluid IgM's research and their productivity rate. BennuBio solves many problems associated with flow cytometry, so Fluid IgM would be able to utilize VeloCyte to help streamline their research. Additionally, it is important that merging companies are on the same page regarding their missions, and Fluid IgM and BennuBio, since they have a ton of adjacencies, would be able to merge seamlessly as BennuBio assists in Fluid IgM achieving their mission of developing more effective therapies.
So Shefali dove into Fluid IgM and how this merger would benefit them, but how does this merger benefit BennuBio? Well, Fluid IgM has a ton of adjacencies that would benefit BennuBio. Fluid IgM has connections to manufacturing services that are outsourced internationally and far cheaper for large-scale production. Fluid IgM also has a prior partnership with Cytobank, which can assist with the technological aspect of expansion. Cytobank is a cloud-based system that helps streamline the human clinical data process during flow cytometry. This can help the VeloCyte transition to become more applicable for human diagnostic use. Fluid IgM also has many connections with the target market that BennuBio is trying to move forward with, which helps increase the consumer base. If BennuBio wants to broach the markets of hospitals and human diagnostic use, FDA approval is necessary, and Fluid IgM can assist with that as well. Fluid IgM also has a much larger revenue stream, being a public company, with about a yearly revenue of $138 million, and can support a lot of the costs that BennuBio would incur during such a large expansion process.
During our phase 4 vertical integration plan, there will be a merger cost that we'll have effectively identified. According to industry analytics, 6 to 8% of merger costs come from the gross revenue of the merging company. We estimate that the approximated cost will be around $800,000. These costs include typical merger costs like manufacturing synergy costs, collaboration costs, and technology integration costs. Regarding risk mitigation, Fluid IgM holds an emergency FDA approval due to the COVID-19 pandemic for single-cell cytometry. BennuBio can capitalize on this because Fluid IgM can support BennuBio through the tedious and costly FDA approval process.
Once the new merger is complete and the company has drastically grown, BennuBio's VeloCyte will have 3 new major revenue streams. For products previously sold, service and contracting fees will bring in a constant stream of revenue over a long period of time. Another revenue stream will come from expanding the uses of the product and the patented technology used in the VeloCyte. This will be done at a greater capacity once merged with Fluid IgM. Once the product use is expanded, the target market will expand as well, showing exponential growth in terms of revenue stream for the company overall.
With the product as innovative as the VeloCyte, BennuBio has so much potential as a company. In an age of exponential growth when it comes to understanding cells and rare event detection, a product like this can completely change the way pharmaceutical industries approach cell analysis. With a thorough scaling process and a well-implemented funding plan, BennuBio can be the next big thing in cellular discovery. So we hope that you'll implement our recommendation for scaling this company. Thank you, and we would now like to open up the floor to questions.
Thank you, guys. That was a great presentation. You did great on your timing also. So we will start right in with the questions. So what do you mean by license a cell that they have least use for?
So I can take this question. Essentially what we mean by licensing a cell that they have least use for is the VeloCyte is a flow cytometry device that looks at a range of different cells. This can be anything from algae cells to so when these cells are processed through the flow cytometer, they have slightly different variations in how the cytometer has to be set, and also with the applicability of each different cell, there are a lot of differences that the company is going to go into a lot more in depth with their research and development team and really expand upon. Because there are so many different applications, we are proposing that the company pick one. Let's say algae cells, which is something that they don't want to advance in with research or partnerships with the company, and they license the use of the VeloCyte for that one type of cell to external companies, whether they're laboratories or life sciences companies or even clinical studies. So by licensing this, they get a constant stream of revenue from that singular contract with this other company or lab for that one type of cell. So the only limitation for the company was that they wouldn't be able to do further research with that type of cell or further application, which is why we're proposing that they license out a cell that they don't want to research, that they have the least use for. And this is a great way for them to get revenue right off the bat.
Thank you. What makes this attractive for a manufacturer? Exclusivity, licensing agreements?
I can take this one as well, because can everyone hear me? Or is my...
We can hear you, just everyone's...
Okay. So what makes this attractive for a manufacturer? This is a pioneer product. There is only one flow cytometer that can look at the cells larger than one cell at a time. And it is already patented. So no other company can even replicate this product. So for a pioneer product like this, a manufacturer is going to want to jump on this new product so that when their sales drastically increase, the manufacturer is also getting a lot more business from the company.
Thank you. Any thoughts about BennuBio's willingness to partner or merge in such a manner?
Take this one. So BennuBio only has 15 employees, and it has such an amazing idea with so much potential. And the ideas that we've brought to you guys will bring that potential to where it should be, to scale it, to make them an amazing company. And they would want to do that because they can make a lot of money off of that. BennuBio has a ton of scientists and a lot of great ideas, and manufacturing this and merging with Viant Medical and with Fluid IgM would be very, very beneficial to them.
Thank you. Small to larger merger is a challenge. Why not sell the rights? The larger company is not likely to want to share profit for the long term.
I can take this one. So the thing about BennuBio is that their product is so innovative and it's so specialized that it would be more beneficial to just merge than for them to acquire the rights or sell it off. The thing about Fluid IgM and what makes it so special is they're already using flow cytometry for single cell analysis, and they're trying to expand, and Fluid IgM has been pioneering with trying to find cancer therapies and utilize their resources to be able to advance. And the thing about BennuBio is that they would help Fluid IgM come off to other industries trying to use their ideas as more innovative, because now the BennuBio product VeloCyte will be able to do more than what Fluid IgM was originally able to do. And because of that additional innovation and the addition to the fact that Fluid IgM will be merging with a very innovative product company that created a product like that, it would just be more beneficial in the long run.
Thank you. Did you mean to choose Viant or Fluid IgM as specific high probability partners or as examples of a class?
So the function of Viant and Fluid IgM are a little bit different in respective to BennuBio. Viant is the manufacturing company, Viant Medical. And so they would be outsourcing essentially their manufacturing in the initial stages of the company when they're really getting the company started and getting those initial revenue streams. So Viant Medical would be not necessarily like partnered as in a merger, but just an outsourced manufacturing company, whereas Fluid IgM is the company that they're fully merging with. And we think that these companies would be very likely to want to merge and would want to even work with this company because it's such an innovative product and it's so new and it has so much growth potential in both areas, not only for revenue, but also for research growth and development into something completely new and something better. And so that's kind of what we talked about in relation to those two specific companies.
Thank you. Fluid customer opportunity. Will Fluid IgM be able to afford BennuBio?
So I can take that. So Fluid IgM is a really big company, and you know, at the same time, they don't undermine the smaller companies because their mission statement is to actually also help other companies. Their revenue stream is over $130 million, so they'll have no problem acquiring BennuBio or merging with BennuBio per se. And the great thing is that they want to work with those teams. They want to help out those teams because then again, like we spoke about before, it's a risk reward factor. If BennuBio increases, you know, its value, then, you know, Fluid IgM will also get that value. So all in all, yes, Fluid IgM will definitely be able to merge successfully and vertically integrate successfully with BennuBio.
Accounted for a lot of the costs in our risks and mitigation slide.
Thank you. We have a few minutes left. You expressed great optimism in the unique advantages of this technology. Did you see any evidence of competitors following closely, especially ones that could disrupt these proposed company alliances?
Absolutely. So that's a great question. The thing is, the evidence of competitors following closely as much of a risk because the technology is patented. The wave technology that allows BennuBio to look at multiple streams of particles at the same time is patented. No other company can use that unless BennuBio specifically licenses the rights. And if they do, they would only be licensing them for that one individual cell that they don't see growth potential with. And so that leaves BennuBio with so many options when it comes to growing their company, and competitors, unless they have the product sold to them, can't use the same technology. They would have to find a completely different way of creating a cytometer that can look at multiple different streams at once. And something like that is honestly not feasible, and no one else has done it. This company has pioneered this initiative. So if they do, maybe far in the future, but right now there are no large competitors, and we have done extensive research about it, and that's what makes this product really so innovative.
Thank you. Any thoughts on how you'd value the company?
Sure. So currently the company has about 7 million in funding, and they are just starting to get their revenue streams. So once our company starts to really get their revenue streams, we'd say it would be a smaller pharmaceutical company valued at, we're guessing, around 6-7 million based on how the licensing contract works. And once they partner with manufacturing, they get that Series C funding to get their company started. They're really able to increase their funding, they're able to increase their revenue stream. So at least initially, that's what we would value the company as. But once it's merged, the valuation will change completely. And because it is a smaller company with an innovative idea but strong valuation, they are able to get merged, and Fluid IgM will see the value of the company and want to have them as part of the larger overall company.
And I would like to add upon that the fact that they're seeking Series C funding, meaning they've already received Series A funding and Series B funding, means that investors have already seen the potential for Velocite, the product, and BennuBio to be able to grow exponentially. So in that, honestly, the Series C funding, when they acquire it, it'll make Fluid IgM more willing to merge with BennuBio, and they have the credibility of the investors saying, hey, like, this is a great company, we need to let this grow.
Thank you. We only have about half a minute left, so I'll just ask one more question. Are there requirements for approval for expanded applications, for example, FDA?
So currently, BennuBio does not have FDA approval, and they're currently only testing with life sciences. They aren't using anything with human sciences in that regards. But the great thing about Fluid IgM, however, is that since they've already got emergency approval, BennuBio can be supported by Fluid IgM. Now, FDA approval itself can cost anywhere between $20 million to $30 million, and that BennuBio alone would not be able to afford getting FDA approval. But with Fluid IgM, and since they have that emergency FDA approval, Fluid IgM would be so much more willing to back BennuBio and provide them the funding to be able to get that FDA approval and be able to expand.
Thank you, guys. That was a great presentation. And I'm bringing on some of my colleagues now. We want to congratulate you. You guys tied for first prize yesterday. So you get first prize and you're automatically in for tomorrow. And we are so proud of you and grateful that you're here.
Excellent job.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
You all are a disruptive technology. Your team is a disruptive innovation. You give light to the received wisdom that old age and treachery will overcome youth and skill. You're undergraduates and you're beating the MBAs here.
Yep.
Yes, you're all freshmen, right?
Yes, we are actually. We're all freshmen.
Mind blowing.
Exciting.
Thank you so much.
Well, as you move forward in your career, I just want to suggest one thing to you, and that is, if you really want to make the biggest impact on the world, it's when you dedicate your work to the public good. And there are lots of institutions that will allow you to do that, and be entrepreneurial in that institution. And we have a couple of them here in New Mexico. We have Los Alamos National Laboratory, and we have Sandia National Laboratory. laboratories, I suggest you take a look at their openings. They have internships, undergraduate internships, summer internships, programs that I think you would find interesting and challenging and rewarding.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys.
Congratulations.
Thank
Thank
you.
More. Our first group is from Stevens. They're Stevens Group 1, and we just have one student representing them today. And he's not going to present on BennuBio, the video you just watched. He's going to present on wildlife protection management. Go ahead and I'll start your time.
Okay, so my name is Lord Gerald Marapao, and I represent Stevens Institute of Technology. And today I will be presenting about our case solution for wildlife protection management. And before we begin, I'd like to apologize that my teammates are not here since there was a schedule mix-up. So I'll try to do my best to answer your questions by the end. So as you may all know, wildlife protection management wants to solve three main problems. Number one, which is the overpopulation of horses. And number two, the roundups of horses. And number three, the fact that there are 50,000 horses that do not have adopters, which is resulting in high tax payments for horses' food and housing. One of the problems we want to solve is increase efficiency of vaccination and contraceptives. And we want to do this by doing more testing with different styles of bait to see which is more likely to attract horses to the stations. And we want to add more stations to the land so horses can be more regularly vaccinated and given contraceptives. In terms of the bait environment that was shown, we want to modify it. And as you may all know, the bait system that you saw in the video had a minimized space, and it had some equipment, including the bait, the controlling box, 3 vaccine boxes, 3 RFID boxes, and a camera system. But what if we were to extend the system somehow? So the plan that we came up was that we wanted to really vaccinate animals through the natural environment. So first of all, we want to place the bait where it should be. And we want to place RFID boxes and camera systems and vaccine boxes and other necessary equipment at locations where the animals won't be interfered, and that will allow them to naturally act as they should. Now, in terms of this plan, we don't want to physically harm the environment, and we don't want to cut any trees, we don't want to cut bushes or any other plants or life forms. And the bait system currently serves both horses and deer, but we want to include other animals such as feral swine, rabbits, rats as well, since they have issues in terms of overpopulation and diseases. Our target market is currently the U.S. Bureau of Land Management, the state management agencies, and tribal governments. Now, the reason we want to target to these three is because we thought that local land management agencies, private landowners, and companies were too broad. And we think that the three that you see on the slide right now are more effective since they keep track on their land statewide and nationwide. And this is a little bit about our funding strategy. So we want to contact the Department of Environmental Conservation for each state with an overpopulation of horses. And this will save money by reducing the high tax payment of horses, housing, and food. I hope you enjoyed our insight of what can be improved and consider expanding the bait system. Thank you for listening.
Thank you so much for your presentation and for doing this all by yourself. I know that has to be difficult. Judges, if you have any questions, we'll have 10 minutes for questions. Like any more background on wildlife protection management, I can try and give that to you guys as well. But first, we have a couple questions. First, did you have any specific strategies for expanding the bait system? You said larger, but not any detail on that.
Okay, so I guess what I'm trying to say is, so let's take a forest, for example. We want, we don't want to alter the forest, but rather we want to place devices that would function the same as the bait system that you saw. I don't have any specific planning or a specific example at the moment, but we want to strategize on where we can focus on having a place to get the animals to be vaccinated and finding ways to attract them.
And then Mr. Renfro's question kind of goes along with that. If you're willing to share concepts for expanding the system. If you covered that, just let me know and I'll go on to the next one.
So in terms of concepts, so once again, I do not have any concept art, unfortunately, today, but I would say that we wanted to expand the system like to different environments. I mentioned forests, and we can even extend to maybe deserts, we can extend to fields, and maybe, and once again, I don't want to alter any kind of environment. We just want to add devices and place them creatively without any animals interfering them or without anyone in general interfering them.
Thank you. To expand the animal species targeted by the system, will you design separate systems for different species or one system for multiple species?
So in the presentation earlier, I mentioned that we want to give this to a variety of animal species. So yes, the systems would be designed differently.
Many horses in New Mexico cross BLM land management land. Any thoughts about approaching that?
Unfortunately, we did not come up with a specific plan on that.
What is the value proposition and who are your customers?
Our value proposition is to save animals, to protect animals, especially those that are endangered. And even though what was demonstrated focused on horses, we want to expand protection as much as possible. And our customers, as I've mentioned before, would be, well, as of right now, the U.S. Bureau of Land and other state agencies as well.
Thank you. We have about 7 minutes left for questions. I'm sorry, I couldn't do my math correctly. Any strategies outside of the current US deployment of the system?
So we did not come up with any strategies outside of the US, but I will say that we definitely do want to expand this into other countries as well. And some systems, they would definitely be similar or different depending on what animals we would be focusing on.
Thank you. How would you fund the additional system development?
So one of my other teammates focused on the funding part for this presentation, but I guess I will say that we would find investors through companies that focus on animal protection.
Okay. Do you expect that this approach will provide a net dollar benefit over costs?
Once again, one of my other teammates had that information, so I cannot provide that answer.
Okay. Represented your team well. You are articulate, intelligent, and honest. Thank you.
Thank you.
We still have a couple more minutes if there are any last minute questions that the judges think of. Consider a more multiplexed approach wherein more animals could approach the stations at one time?
So our plan is to have like the whole natural environment, have animals come to any place of bait where they can be vaccinated. So once again, there is more than one place of vaccination they can receive as they're getting the bait.
Are there others developing a similar system, or who are your competitors?
So one of my other teammates will actually focus on that. He did not find any other competitors from what we researched or any other similar system.
Got about 1 minute left. Thank you so much, Lord, for representing your team, and judges also for your questions. And we thank you very much. We're glad that you and your team were here with us.
Thank you.